Today we're making the Chinese tomato egg stir fry, aka番茄炒蛋, also known for its shorter name,番茄炒蛋. Being one of the quickest Chinese stir fry recipes ever, this one recipe is gonna be the one that goes straight into your house once you try it. And do you know why? You're good. You're good. Because it just tastes great, and it only takes a few minutes to prepare, literally. If you've been to China, you know exactly what I'm talking about. University canteens, food trays, you remember those, right? There would always be a spot occupied by the tomato egg stir-fry dish right next to the steamed rice. And for any quick meals in the so-called home cooking style restaurants, 家常菜餐厅, I do not recall any moments when I didn't order this dish. Not to mention the related breakfast options with the tomato egg noodle soup as well as the tomato egg drop soup. But yeah, how many of you have succeeded in preparing the Chinese tomato egg stir fry at home? And how many of you would like to tell friends around that there's another option besides scrambled eggs? And this is actually one of the options that will take the eggs to the next level. Do not worry, because we decided to spend a couple of days in our studio by trying out all the recipes that we could find out there, most of them, coming up with that one recipe that will bring you back to this fantastic dish. But before we get started with the cooking, we would like to thank our sponsors for this video. That is you with your fingers as you pressing those two buttons, the like button on one side and the bell notification button on the other side, that is gonna get you subscribed to our channel and connected to our community. And now, time to get our hands dirty! The great thing about this dish is that you don't need that many ingredients and you don't need to master any specific cooking techniques. Easy peasy, right? Green onions here are a must. We chop them finely and place them aside in a separate bowl, while leaving the white parts into 4 to 5 centimeters chunks into another bowl. To be very precise, we did this in 3 steps. Starting from the bottom of the green onions, we cut some big chunks out of those. And then moving up, chopping the remaining parts into small dices. And what we did here was separating the white parts from the green parts. It was then time for cutting some ginger. After peeling it, we finally chopped into dices. Some of the recipes do not include any ginger inside, but I personally believe that adding ginger together with any tomato-based recipes is gonna be a plus. I cannot resist from messing things up a little bit by using different varieties of tomatoes. What you sure need first is some beefsteak tomatoes. These are going to provide you with the right amount of juice, are gonna be quite sweet as well, while keeping a sort of consistency even after the cooking. If you manage to add some cherry tomatoes or some mini plum tomatoes, that is gonna be a plus. These varieties tend to be much sweeter and they kind of balance out the acidity of the other tomatoes. For the beefsteak tomatoes, make sure you cut them into wedges or big chunks, as you still want to feel some texture in your mouth after the stir fry, rather than just tomato sauce. We're not making spaghetti alla bolognese here, right? Crack the eggs into a bowl and mix properly. The trick here is to season your eggs with some white pepper, some salt, some optional Shaoxing wine, and of course, some sesame oil. We quickly obtained the starch slurry by mixing water and cornstarch. Remember to check out the description for the precise quantities. Now, wok time! Preheat it and go ahead with the white chunks of the green onions. Stir well for about a minute, then add the diced green onions as well as the ginger. It was then time for the tomatoes. Remember to keep everything on medium-high heat. By now you're probably asking yourselves, is that it? I mean, ginger, green onions, eggs, tomatoes? You wish. You wish. You wish. But actually, that is pretty much about this recipe with addition of some seasonings. We're gonna be adding some ketchup, some soy sauce from the perimeter of the wok, some sugar, make sure you add your starch slurry, and finally water. If you like your dish to be dry rather than juicy, just skip the water part. Make sure you do not overcook your tomatoes because you still want to feel the big chunks, that texture in your mouth with the final dish. We set this tomato sauce apart and we started working with our eggs. Eggs into a preheated wok with oil in, and time for the eggs to cook on one side before adding the tomatoes inside. The great thing here was adding the tomatoes in before the eggs were actually fully cooked, so to get them mixed up all together. This made sure that the eggs would infuse with the tomato and the tomato sauce around it, and despite not looking particularly pretty, the taste was great. Before finishing, green onions, while leaving some of the green leaves for the final garnishing. See, the great thing about this dish, besides being so easy to prepare, is also the fact that it goes perfectly with some steamed rice. I mean, it's not like any other dry dishes that with the dry steamed rice that make like dry plus dry that makes double dry. You get that, right? There's a full debate out there on how to cook this recipe, and the two main arguments are the following. Cooked tomatoes into eggs or cooked eggs into tomatoes. Ketchup or not ketchup. For the first argument, despite recognizing the fact that cooking the eggs first and then just throw them into the tomato base is much easier. We also believe that making things all the way around is gonna make this dish just taste better, because it's gonna combine the flavors all together rather than keeping the eggs separated from the tomatoes. You don't wanna keep them separated, right? They like to stay together. As far as ketchup is concerned, we still believe that adding a ketchup is a plus. And that is because ketchup is gonna bring the extra umami flavor to the recipe while balancing out some of the acidity of the tomatoes with the sugar inside the ketchup. And that is gonna make you add less sugar than without using any ketchup. Big announcement as we found another main argument out there. Scientifically not proven, it says your Chinese recipes, especially this tomato egg stir fry, taste better if you press the like button as well as the notification bell. Easy, right? And by the time we send out this video, it's probably gonna be time to celebrate the end of this year. We therefore wish you and all your families a happy 2022 with lots of new cooking discoveries and quality time with your family and friends. Chinese team loves you all and the community is growing bigger. We would like to make you feel part of this community by throwing this massive huge party when we reach 1K subscribers. My name is Luca, happy new year, and we'll see you in 2022. Spicier than ever!